All right, let's get down to brass tacks. I want you on my team. What's it gonna take? How about a little of your MP? Deal. Yeah, that tickles. And a lot of your HP. All right. Yeah. Ooh, that feels less good. And 500 maca. Oof, you drive a hard bargain. But you've got yourself a deal. Per week. But per week? Oh, yeah. What did you expect to pay me only once? That ain't how labor works, buddy. I guess I kind of figured this would be a mutually beneficial arrangement, you know? You help me fight other demons, and you get, what? Exposure? No. Or should I do it for the experience? Because it would look good on my resume? That's why I should do free work for you? No, I didn't say that. Us contractors are a dime a dozen, huh? Easily expendable. We should be chomping at the bit for the privilege of working for you. Okay, listen. I don't want to undervalue your work. I'm not looking to take advantage of you, so sure. If that's what you're worth, 500 maca per week. And I want dental. Dental? I want dental. You're a demon! A demon with teeth? Oh, so you just want dental, huh? Not medical? Well, I mean, now that you mention it. Oh, man. Hello, friends. I'm here to give my early impressions of Shin Megami Tensei 5. Vengeance. Atlas sponsored this video and provided me with an early copy of the game, for which I am extremely grateful. A quick reminder that I only accept sponsorships for games that I can genuinely recommend and under the condition that I can be completely honest. And spoiler alert, this is certainly a game that I can recommend, but let's talk about why. Also a reminder that I am very new to the whole SMT Persona universe. I only just got to play Persona 3 Reload earlier this year, and I mean, yeah, I get it now. I get it now. But I was really curious to discover the differences between the two series, and so this has been really enlightening. It's fascinating to see how they play off the same ideas, but manage to feel unique. But let's set up the scenario first. Shin Megami Tensei 5 tells the tale of a very intense high school student who suddenly finds himself in the Netherworld, a land filled with demons. Even more, this appears to be a destroyed and abandoned version of Tokyo, and everyone here refers to some big, huge battle that happened several years ago, some enormous clash between angels and demons, and it was crazy. The lead character fuses with a strange, robot-y kind of entity called Aogami, and falls into this whole mysterious struggle in an attempt to figure out what's going on and find the other people who also got dumped into Demon Town. The gameplay is very familiar, and I'm learning that this formula right here is really at the core of these series. You collect demons, which come in many different varieties and categories. There are like hundreds of them. You train them up, manage their skills, combine them together to make new ones, you know, the works. Then you use them in turn-based combat, and there's a huge emphasis on exploiting enemy weaknesses and breaking defenses. That seems to be the whole SMT Persona thing right there. Every time you meet a new demon, you've got to experiment and figure out what knocks them down best. Hitting a weakness actually earns you an extra attack, so if you play your cards right, you can take out a big old group in a very satisfying string of combos. But it goes both ways. When enemies hit your weaknesses, you lose turns, so the stakes of battle feel higher than in most turn-based RPGs I've played. Things can go very well. You can feel like you're totally dominating, you're just destroying these guys, and then things can also start going wrong in no time flat, which keeps things feeling very tense and fun. It's a game where you can't just coast your way through a tough battle. You've really got to think on your feet. Fortunately, if you're just grinding low-level demons, then there is an extremely handy auto-battle system, and every turn-based battler with a speedy auto-battle system is automatically 5 times better than any game without one, in my eyes. You can even choose between having your fighters do normal attacks or do special attacks to target weaknesses, which is super convenient. But then here is where Shin Megami Tensei differs from Persona. Instead of a group of fighters who use monsters to attack and augment their abilities, here the main character fights alongside the monsters themselves. It's functionally similar, but allows the personalities of these demons to shine through more clearly. In fact, the whole experience puts a big emphasis on demons. This is their world where they roam freely, and you roam freely as well. That's the other important thing, because Persona is all about switching between these two worlds, balancing your combat-related endeavors and your regular life. Managing your time and cultivating relationships and all that. Splitting the experience into two modes over distinct days is extremely fun in its own way, but then in Shin Megami Tensei 5, you're free to explore the Netherworld at your leisure and with minimal interruptions. There is a real world with its own map and activities, but the Netherworld is really the main attraction. There's a sense of freedom here that's very exhilarating coming straight from Persona. You cruise around, fighting demons, tracking down treasure and collectibles, hitting story beats as you open up more and more of the map. There are these rails that act as a form of fast travel, but also just connect little areas and lead you to treasure and stuff. There are many different navigator demons to utilize, and these follow you around and comment on the world and help you find hidden rails and items and such. So there's always somewhere to go, there's always something to do, especially considering you're always finding new demons, which also means discovering new demon-fusing combinations for creating even more new demons. It's a very free-form experience. It's just you slowly building up your team in all these little ways. And you've got those story beats to hit in a more linear fashion, but I really love how you'll come across all of these super extra tough optional demons, and if you're not prepared, they will just wipe the floor with you. So it's up to you to come back and challenge them when you think you're strong enough. The game empowers you to build your team however you want and use it however you see fit. And the allure of these extra hard challenges is ever present. It's a very player-driven experience, and that's what I love about it. It's not like a strictly open-world sandbox kind of game, and yet it still manages to feel very open. It still feels like there's so much to do and there's so many options for experimentation within the space that you're given. My favorite aspect of the entire game, though, is how the demons are personified. The world is full of demons. They're all you fight, and yet it is immediately established that they're basically just people like you. They roam around and they attack you on sight, but then you'll also find them as NPCs, just kind of sitting around offering dialogue or even whole side quests. So they're your adversaries, yet you spend a tremendous amount of your time getting to know them and helping them, which makes this post-apocalyptic, demon-infested Netherworld feel surprisingly friendly. It gives the game something of a more positive vibe despite the very dire subject matter, which in turn just makes the world that much more enjoyable to spend a lot of time in. Even better though, the way you recruit demons, you just talk to them. You don't even need to do anything fancy to initiate this dialogue. You literally just select talk in the battle menu and suddenly you're in it. From here, you gotta intuit what exactly needs to be done to sway a demon to your side. You may choose from dialogue options, you may choose how to respond to their behavior, and this might go back and forth a few times, and then when you've gotten on their side, they will ask for things, mainly money, items, and chunks of your HP and MP, which is very clever. And you can even negotiate here. It is truly wild how many different interactions you'll find. And apparently even more have been added to this new version of the game. Even among different members of the same exact demon type, your conversations will differ, and this does even more to make the world just feel like this real, organic, consistent place filled with actual people. Each encounter is like its own little puzzle to solve, and accurately guessing what a demon wants on the first try, it feels awesome. And of course, it also just makes you feel a lot more connected to the demons that join your team. There are no mindless monsters here, everyone is a person, everyone has a say. And even more, another new feature is demon haunts. You can visit the demons in your possession in these little safe areas, and they just kind of sit around. You can have conversations with them, deepen your relationships, get items from them. You can even chat with your Aogami guy on a bench, which is kind of funny. It's amazing that this feature wasn't in the original game because it just fits so well, and that's really indicative of how much they have done to add to the experience. It seems like they've done everything they could possibly think of to just make this game that much better. Speaking of which, I didn't play the original, so I can't pick out every single change here, but just looking at the list, the improvements are innumerable. Dozens of new demons, more than double the number of navigator demons, higher level caps, new innate demon skills, new skills exclusive to specific demon combinations, consecutive demon encounters, and more quality of life changes than you can shake a stick at. You know, bigger stuff like the rails, the ability to save anywhere, and some of the new features we've already covered, and then tons and tons of smaller tweaks to the gameplay, demon management, navigation, game options, everything. And then of course, the biggest change of all, a new campaign has been added, Canon of Vengeance, to complement the original campaign, Canon of Creation. You get to choose which you want to tackle at the very start of the game, and the campaigns start to diverge early on. Canon of Vengeance offers new story with new characters and a new guest character feature where other humans can temporarily join your party and control demons of their own, which is cool. You've got loads of new quests, new areas, and a new dungeon, so lots of new, basically. In a sense, content-wise, you're essentially looking at two games, and considering this is exactly the kind of gameplay that a person can sink countless hours into, you can't argue the value proposition here. If the original game was already good and already had a whole lot of content, then all this extra content and all these improvements and extra features and stuff just makes it that much better. Finally, let's talk presentation. The demons are clearly the star of the show here. Their designs are simply fantastic, and checking out new ones is a constant delight. They pull from so many bizarre and interesting sources, and I particularly love the contrast between their sometimes freakish visages and their very human personalities. They'll look like these crazy demonic underworld monsters, and they'll just be like, why are we fighting? Why do we fight? I love it. Then the world itself is incredibly cool. The destroyed cityscape is very surreal with all sorts of weird elements in the sky and off in the distance, and I always love that stuff. The UI looks really good. It's slick and snappy. Everything is nice and polished. And can we talk about the music? A lot of these games are famous for their music, but this soundtrack right here, this one, in particular, it hits me just right. Like cool, surreal electronic music with weird vocal samples. That's the kind of stuff I listen to anyway, in my free time. And that's this game's whole thing. So no doubt, even after I'm done playing, I will be adding this OST to my personal library because I cannot stress enough how much I love it. If I may offer one small criticism of the game though, I'm not a fan of how when you run into a group of demons on the overworld, each demon is its own whole battle. I'd prefer it if the demons within a certain radius more or less stacked together, so it was easier to clear an area. Auto-battling really helps here though, so I can't even complain too much, and that's really the only issue I've got with the game, and it's barely even an issue, and I think that says something about the quality of the experience. Overall, I am absolutely loving Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. It offers a big, weird world to explore with loads of content, now even more so, a tremendous amount of freedom in team building and customization, carefully tuned gameplay, and countless cool demons to hang out with. It's a similar yet complementary and very unique take on what I found in Persona, and I really appreciate now that both experiences exist. This is an incredibly high-quality package, and I don't think it will be controversial for me to posit that Atlus has been killing it. They have been offering us a seriously overwhelming amount of very good video games to enjoy. Many thanks once more to them for sponsoring this video. Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance is available right now on Nintendo Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, and Steam. Hit the link down in the description to learn more. All right, in exchange for your full-time employment, I can offer you the HP and MP already delivered, 500 Maka per week, full dental and medical coverage, 2 weeks of paid leave per calendar year with rollover, federal holidays off, a 50 Maka per diem when on the field, full cooperation with the Demonic Laborers Union, 10 bead chains, and the rest of my Reuben sandwich, which I was saving for dinner, but whatever. Will you join my team? I will. Good to hear. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna need Fridays off. All right, I'm gonna fuse you with a slime. What was that? Nothing.